a repeat of last weekend, except for it's not raining, it's not blowing. It's not supposed to rain, it's not supposed to blow today. But as you saw in the Friday fishing forecast, that I was not predicting any guarantees. No predictions anymore on weather. Poor everybody complained about that. And there's one thing that's going around a lot of people are complaining about now is bait. And as I explained to some people, you know, the bait only lives for a year, and they spawn out during this time of year every single year. So what happens is once those big baits spawn out, they die off and then leave the little ones. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, is that the little ones are starting to show up on the flats. The bait has pretty much disappeared from the towers. So it happens every summer. And I think some people, there's been so many people on the water hitting those towers, and now all of a sudden there's no bait there. That's the reason, is it because that bait has spawned out and they died off. There's going to be some bait leftovers here and there, but for the majority of it, we're going to start seeing a huge influx of small bait. So be prepared for that.
Quarter-inch nets.
But you also want to take that into consideration, because if the bait is small, then that's what those fish are going to be eating. As they say, elephants eat peanuts, and I've caught 120-pound tarpon on a bait this big. So,
but elephants don't eat peanuts, because if they do, they choke in their nose and they die.
Lord, no they don't.
Yes they do. Google it.
No, they don't.
All right, for those of you that are on my side, hit me a thumbs up, because if you Google it, elephants die if they eat peanuts.
So we're gonna go catch bait on the flats, because I'm not even gonna mess with the towers. So hopefully, we're probably gonna have to use a lot of pinfish for cut bait today.
Really?
Yeah. I heard though that I talked to somebody yesterday, and they said that they were using tiny pinfish, and that's what they were getting their fish on.
Huh.
So we'll see what happens. Everything is adjusting, and you got to adjust on the fly and understand it. So we'll get into it a lot more during this episode of Tampa Bay Fishing Channel. Oh, it is a myth. All right, on that note, I'm wrong. All right, we are absolutely loaded with bait. We've got a bucket full of bait there, 2 live wells full of bait.
It was not easy today. I did have to throw the net like 17 times.
And we all know that's a lie. Come on, Chad.
Hey, it's teamwork. There's no I in team.
That's true. All right, let's go and fish.
Let's do it.
Right there. We've got snapper right below the boat, coming up. Eating chummer. Well, immediately Chad starts the morning off with a snapper. Not actually the size we're looking for, but
nothing wrong with them, but yeah.
Heads up.
Heads up.
Heads up. Come on, man. Little dinkly. Alright. I'm gonna get away from this, and I'm gonna see if there's any grouper down there.
So I was just thinking too.
Come on, Chad. He's got to be bigger than that.
Yeah. You control the size. Control what I get.
Doubled up. Come on, Chad.
Man, come on. You picked the little one.
What we're doing is we're taking that small bait that we caught on the flats and we're just using those as whole chummers to chum up these fish. Yes, it's a pain in the butt to catch small bait, but now we're using the bigger pinfish to catch the grouper. Oh. Yep. That's it. No. Do a lot of running. Not quite a keeper, but getting there. He wasn't going anywhere, that's for sure. Not bad for 17 feet of water. What we're doing is we're just free lining pinfish and dead bait to them, throwing out that little bait for chum. When we first got here, it was loaded with snapper, not real big ones, but that ain't What was that on?
Pinner. Sounded like Homer Simpson.
That warrants big boy pull. I told you when I put that one down there, that was not a good choice.
23 and a half.
God! Come on, man. 23 and a half.
Yep.
That one that I just had railed me, man. Oh my God. He hit it. And as soon as he hit it, I knew I was in trouble. And what I mentioned on the Friday fishing forecast in the content that I did, or the video that I did earlier this week, is there's a lot of influx of fresh water up in the northern part of Tampa Bay, central northern part. And I think that's pushy. I told Chad I think it's pushy fish out towards the Skyway, past the Skyway. So we started, we're somewhat close to the Skyway, so we started there first. And sure enough, we started chumming and snapper started coming up, and then the grouper have come in, and thank God we got a ton of pinfish. Now what I'm doing is I'm hooking this bait right in the anal fin right there, just like that. Pitching them out, holding on. Oh, what the?
Leader, I'm guessing.
No. Now, case in point, Chad is using some pretty heavy leader right now, and I've had 2 bites to his none. He was ripping off line. I don't know how he got off. Son of a biscuit. for as little as he is. He sure fought like he was a lot bigger than that. He healed him too. Well, this morning, Chad and I had a pretty good bite in like 17 feet of water.
Look what time it is.
And, yeah, it's almost a major. And we've jumped to I don't know how many spots. And it's been slow, but we finally, I think, got what we're looking for. Fingers crossed, because my wife told me I have to bring home grouper. Okay, folks, that was a 24.5-inch grouper. 19 feet of water.
And it whooped your tail.
No, who got his in the boat?
You were scrambling.
But I hooked one earlier that just, I had to go to my big boy pole because he just made me look like a fool. Taking a, what are these, 5/0 hooks?
Mm-hmm.
5/0 hook, hooking them right in the anal fin again. And just pitching them out there and holding on, because when they hit it hard. It's just amazing how hard they fight. They're absolutely inhaling these. So I got one. There's Chad's. No, he's not.
52.5. Come on, big boy. Where are you at? There you are.
There's mine. Caught a lot of 22s and 23s this morning. You can tell when they're about to get eaten too. They get extremely nervous. Ooh. Oh, son of a biscuit eater.
Break off?
Yep. I also like to keep my finger just on the bail and keep my spool open. Ooh. Ooh. That was ugly. But what I was saying is I like to keep my finger on the spool and keep my spool and free spool just in case they really kind of take off and hit it hard, and I just need to give them a little bit of line, or give the bait fish a little bit of line to act normally or naturally. And it's easy because I can put my finger and flip that bail really quick. Or flip the switch or lever, whatever you want to call it. I'm so used to
I think it's still called a bail, isn't it? I don't know. No? No,
the bail is the
right, the bail's the wire.
Yeah. It's a lever. It's the lever. And what we're doing is we're pitching up tight of the structure, and the structure is on each side of the boat. We have 2 rock piles on each side of us. So what's happening is the baits are swimming over the rock piles, and it kind of is giving us a little bit of an advantage to pull them out, but we're still hooking some fish that we just can't stop. Chad, you're gonna have to give up on that bait.
Mm-hmm.
See, Chad has a bait on that's already been eaten, and they won't eat it again because they're not frisky. If they're not frisky, they won't eat it for
swim down.
Yeah, they won't swim down too, but
seeing what's down there.
What's ooh. Well, at first he's like almost like gave up, and then he turned on the afterburner. But what I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted was, most of the time, if our bait fish has been hit, the bait fish won't go back down because they know what's down there, so they swim on the surface, and the grouper are not coming up to get them. And that bait that that fish that I just had on actually hit a bait that had already been hit, but my bait went back down again and he got hit again. So just as long as we can get the baits down, they're getting bit. But if that bait gets down there and sees what's down there without getting bit, they'll come up to the surface and they won't go back down too. So if they start doing that, if you're freelining pinfish, that's definitely what you want to make sure of, is that they're getting down in that water column. And thank God we caught hundreds of pinfish today, all about this size and bigger. So we're going through them like butter. Is that an expression? Just like the elephants eat peanuts? Come on, fishy, fishy. Stay in the boat.
That little bitty thing
I
that
know.
drug you out of the
What
boat?
the hell? Holy cow! Like a freak, dude. That's the cool thing about those circle hooks, right in the corner of the mouth. I could have sworn he was going to be when he hit that. He about took me off my feet. Well, we were back at the office, and I gotta say, today was different. We were able to get bait on the flats. We got everything up. We went to our first spot, and I decided to go somewhere a little bit shallower. And we did really well there. We caught some really nice fish. Caught grouper up at 23.5. We caught some snapper there, but the snapper disappeared when the grouper showed up. And then we kind of wore that spot out. So then we headed out and went past the skyway out. We got into some sea bass and some small grouper. We lost one to a shark, a nice grouper. And then the bite shut down there. So then we decided to come back inside a little bit, and the bite was pretty much dead. I don't know what the deal was, but it was tough. So I told Chad, I said, well, let's go back to where we started and see what's there. And sure enough, we hit it on that major, and it was every pinfish that we could get in, throw out. We were freelining them, and boom, boom, boom. I was fortunate enough to get a keeper grouper for catch, clean, and cook for tonight. My wife is going to do something special with the grouper, so I'm looking forward to that. So let's go talk to Chad and see what happened with him today, because he lived up to his moniker.
I truly sucked today. I don't know what it was. I can't even explain it. If there was a way to lose a fish today, I did it.
Look how white this sea bass. Look how white that meat is. I mean, that's incredibly white. You're gonna let me have those fillets, right? And then one of the grouper. You can have the rest of the grouper. I just want one fillet of the grouper and the sea bass.
Well, at least I'm good for something today.
Yeah, you did catch this. Well, you caught one sea bass and I caught the other sea bass.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I can at least clean fish.
Yeah, we didn't catch it. Well, we caught a couple snapper. That was it.
Which, if we'd have known,
yeah,
we could have kept those. But I was making room for
bigger ones. This one's got a crab in his belly.
Yep.
But overall, it was the bite was extremely slow. We dropped the camera down in some spots, and it was void of fish. There were no fish. It was the weirdest thing. I mean, I don't get it. I don't know. I guess it's the influx of fresh water. That's the only thing that I can think.
Didn't seem that fresh though. I've seen it worse.
I've seen it worse too. Last year I remember doing an episode about dark water.
Yeah, it was tannic.
Where you couldn't even see when the camera went down. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No.
He is full of crabs.
Is he really?
Yes.
So that's what they're doing, is they're filling up on crabs. Look at that.
Two pinfish and all these crabs.
Past crabs.
There's another one still in here, another one here. Oh, that's just an arm. There's another body.
That just goes to show that
14 past crabs.
14 past crabs. When you're cleaning fish, you want to check their bellies to see what they've been eating, because that gives you a good indication. And on these negative outgoing afternoon tides, that's what's happening, is these past crabs are flushing out, and that's what those grouper are gorging themselves on. So that's a really good indication to show that if you want to go out and catch grouper, you go out on those negative tides in the afternoon and hit the crab flush and use some crabs for bait. Anyway, we want to thank you again for all the support, for watching us act like a fool today. Hey, at least we got into fish. At least everything worked.
We caught fish.
At least everything worked right. And we caught fish. We caught a lot of grouper, just not a lot of keepers. There was a ton that we caught that were just short. But it was cool because we were in 17 feet or 18 feet of water and free lining pinfish to these guys, and when they hit it, it was like a freight train, man. All right, well, till next week, thank you very much again for all the support. Visit our website at tampabayfishingchannel.com, and do not forget, this coming weekend we are going to be at the Tampa Bay Boat Show at the fairgrounds at the Sunray Marine booth. So if you aren't out going fishing, and if you want to go look at boats, if you want to come up and meet us, please do. We really enjoy meeting new people, and so anybody coming up, we look forward to meeting you, and we'll see you out on the water or at the boat show.